listening to Fantasy Football with the Dork and the Dude.
On YouTube, I'm the Dork.
And I'm the Dude. All right, Dorkster, it's our Super Bowl show.
Super Bowl is here. The greatest moment in the history of the world, at least for this year.
Or at least the history of the United States.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, Dork, you've been doing quite a bit of research. You've got a lot more stuff than I do to talk about, so take over here, man.
Okay, let me start by saying we're both still on the Niners.
Yep.
I
don't feel good about it, but I'm going to throw down on my boys. I have to.
I'd rather not feel good about it than feel real cocky about it, and that's how I see the
like we were
last week
championship weekend
on the Niners, and they didn't cover.
In Baltimore.
Yeah. I wasn't that cocky on Baltimore, but I was on the Niners.
I hear you.
But and I'm hearing that from the Chiefs backers, so that makes me feel kind of good. Anyways, here's some quick numbers on the game, then we'll get to the prop type stuff.
Okay.
Last 20.
Oh, God, here we go again. Dork alert.
Last 20 Super Bowls, the underdog, which is the Chiefs, has covered 14 times, which is 70%.
Yep.
All time, though, it's 28 to 27, slightly on the favorite. So you don't know when that's going to shift back.
Okay.
And KC might be the favorite by the time we get to game day. Who knows?
I don't think it'll move that much. It's still sitting at a solid 2.
It's been 2 for a long time.
And there's some books down in Vegas that have bumped it to 2.5.
Okay, the over-under is mostly, for the most part, it's even. Since I think they started doing it in 77.
Mm-hmm.
But 4 of the last 5 have gone under. And that fact has me leaning over now. And that's changed from last week.
Okay, I got a Dork alert.
Oh, God, here we go again. Dork alert.
I think Patrick Mahomes has played 20 playoff games.
Yeah.
The playoff games he's played in went 18-2 under.
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, and they've been under all year, so if you think it's going to be a high-scoring game, go over. I think it's going to be under 47.5, so I'm thinking of taking the under myself.
Okay.
I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm waiting to cash my MVP bet tomorrow night.
Then you're going to throw down some props.
That's it.
Favorites of less than 2.5, actually less than 3, from 2.5 and below, are 5 and 3 historically.
Okay.
And that's SF.
All right.
Just,
that's all pointing to Kansas City.
A little thing there. Okay, here's 2 things. The team with the better turnover percentage has covered 7 of 10 times. That's San Francisco.
Okay.
The team with the better sack percentage. This is turnover percentage on offense and sack percentage on. Actually, that's on offense too. That has been the best at preventing it.
Right.
Is 8-2, and that's Kansas City.
Well, that's because they hold all the time.
Yeah, that's true. And get away with it. Ask
Nick
Bosa.
Yeah. Well, it must be tough too. Like when you play a team like Kansas City, like the Niners did 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And then after the Super Bowl, you've got your post-Super Bowl film session, and you see them holding on damn near every play, and nothing's called.
Well, not only that, you got to get up in front of the media.
Yeah.
And act nice. Give them credit.
Yeah.
Play the game.
Even though you know that they were holding on you. I've got a stat here, real quick, Dork, that kind of relates to that. Let's see, what was that? We talked about this. In the 3 playoff games this year that Kansas City's played, there have been no penalties called on them in the first quarter
half.
of all 3.
The first quarter, you told me that, yeah.
Of all 3, which means that that's why they're up 7-0 in a lot of first quarters. They'll go down, they'll burn up 7 minutes of clock, score, no penalties, they know they can hold.
So let's say that they put the right crews in there that got Kansas City to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, I get how that benefits them because, well, Taylor Swift has boosted viewership, and they're all about viewers and money.
Right.
But does it matter to them who wins, or just that Kansas City's there?
I think that
It's not like they're going on to another game here.
right. Well, I think it matters. Does it matter to who?
The league.
Yeah, of course it matters to them, especially if KC wins. They've got their dynasty narrative.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the Taylor Swifters, who are going to be with the team at least through next year.
Mm-hmm.
They get all the publicity. Like I said, Taylor Swift parachutes down onto the field at the end as the confetti's dropping.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and so
In fact, I may change it to Kansas City if that's going to happen.
well, you know,
But
and here's part of the deal too, and we've talked about this.
yeah,
We can give all these metrics about how Kansas City gets all kind of help. They stuck the 49ers on the Las Vegas, Nevada
UNLV.
college field, and I heard an interesting thing. Wait, this is Dork Alert.
Oh God, here we go again. Dork alert.
Did you know that they have a test for a hardness of a football field?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what what the desired hardness is going into a game?
I don't know. I've read this.
The
so.
number's 90.
Okay.
Okay. The practice field, and some dudes went out and tested both these fields.
Yeah.
The practice field, which is the Raiders deluxe version,
Yeah.
that KC's on, their hardness number is 83. They went and checked the University of Las Vegas, 44.
Yeah.
And why is that a problem? It's harder to practice. You can't cut as well, and some dude might blow out a goddamn knee.
Now, how did each team get to practice where they are? Did
The league,
the Raiders open it up to the Chiefs?
no,
or
the league mandates, I
the league
guess,
said,
who
okay,
who practices on what fields.
okay. I had no idea. So.
Yeah, the Raiders aren't going to open it up to their rivals.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, they'd let the Niners practice there because they played across the bay and know each other.
Okay.
No, the league had some bullshit just like that with the officials. The head officials, the same dude that called the game 4 years ago, Kansas City, San Francisco Super Bowl, and called the bullshit Kittle pass interference call.
Okay.
We're not going to get any help. And so, anyway,
I'm just going to say, by the way the rule is written, he did extend his arm, so that was interference, or I could see where it looked like interference.
right,
But the case was he was kind of tangled in trying to get away.
right.
So he wasn't literally
he's not-
interfering with the guy.
he's not-
He wasn't doing a push.
To
He
create
was being
space,
held, and if anything, he was being interfered with.
no doubt.
But I can see where the ref would see that, and
Yeah, but he doesn't see
throw
the
the
guy
flag.
draped all over him. Anyway, the point I wanted to make is this, and we've talked about this before, both on and off the pod and stuff.
Yeah.
Is you look at all these factors and you say to yourself, if it's not rigged, there's a big impetus to have Kansas City win. And as a bettor, the smart play, and most of the sharps are on KC, is to bet that, knowing that they're going to get some calls, they're going to be able to hold. There's going to be some shit that works to their benefit. But I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it, knowing all of that. I'd rather buck the odds. The Niners are going to have to win by 10 to keep the refs out of the fucking game. Which is why when we start talking about the line, I'm going to tease the Niner line up, because if they're going to win, they're going to win by over 6.5.
Yeah.
If they anything under 6.5, can't they don't have a shot.
You know, but I just want to say, every decade, if you go back to the Bears in the 40s, the Browns in the 50s, the Packers in the 60s, Steelers 70s, 49ers 80s,
Right.
Cowboys in the 90s,
Yep.
Patriots the last 2 decades.
Right.
There has been a dominant team, you know,
Sure.
and I don't think it's always, especially in the early days, been a fixed thing.
Right. Well, then, but how come there's so much controversy around the officiating over the last 5 or 10?
Well, there's always been. I mean, I remember back in the
I
70s.
think it's worse, man.
I think back in the 70s, and he was right, Al Davis used to say, Dallas and Miami are wired to the league office.
Sure.
You know, because if I remember at the time, Shula and maybe it was Tech Schramm,
Right.
they ran the competition committee, which basically supervises the referees.
Yep, and makes changes to rules.
Yeah. And
That's how we got the Brady
so
rule.
it's been going on for a while, and it's like, yes, some teams definitely get favored, but I just don't know how much. I mean, New England, the past 20 years, they were the favorite team, but they did lose 3 Super Bowls.
Right,
They lost a lot of playoff games.
right.
So I'm going to look at this like it's, everything's pretty much on the level.
Okay,
Okay, back to my dorky stuff here.
do it.
Okay, there's been 6 1 versus 3 seeds in the Super Bowl. The 3 seed is 4-2.
Nice.
However, the favorite, which the 3 seed is KC, the favorite, which is San Francisco, is also 4-2.
Mm.
So that's kind of a wash.
All right.
Better strength of schedule during the season, has a 7-3 record in the last 10. That's San Francisco.
Well, yeah, because we know KC had the 14th easiest.
Yeah. Return of when it's the same 2 teams within 4 years.
Yep.
The team that won the first year is 4-0.
That's KC. Big time.
The returning champ, defending champ who had won the year before,
Uh-huh.
they are 8-6, but the last 3 lost.
Right, okay.
Okay,
It's hard to repeat
it is hard to repeat.
unless you're a dynasty.
Unless you're a dynasty, but it's hard to repeat. It's only happened 8 times.
I know.
So
And it was the last time was the Patriots, 2003 and 4?
2003 and 4. Before that, it was Broncos and 49ers. I mean, it happened a lot early.
Yeah.
Like in the first
Dallas repeated.
in the first 10 years,
Pittsburgh.
you had the Packers won the first 2.
Yep.
Miami won like 6 and 7. Pittsburgh, I'm not sure on the exact numbers, but Pittsburgh 8 and 9, and then I think it was 12 and 13. So you had 4 of the repeats, before the 80s,
Right.
basically. And then after that, there weren't a lot, just Niners, Cowboys, Broncos, and Patriots.
Yep.
And none in the, so there's a lot of trends in either direction here.
Yeah, there is.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the trend that Mahomes has been lights out as an underdog.
Oh,
Something like 12 and 1.
no doubt.
So,
And that's why I think the sharp money's all on KC. But 75% of the total take is on KC as well.
yeah. But I remember mid-year before their bye week, Niners had lost 3 straight after a great start.
I remember that.
They came out after the bye week and were blowing people away.
Yep.
They've struggled in the playoffs, but now they got 2 weeks, which can be a great evening out. And Kansas City, again, except for the Miami game, Buffalo or Baltimore could have gone either way.
Sure.
I'm not saying they didn't deserve to win, but
I hear you.
they haven't. The past 2 years, they have not exactly been blowing teams out in the playoffs.
They haven't been down
or
there.
the regular season.
Yeah.
And at their best, San Francisco is a better team, and I'm going with them.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying that because KC hasn't been blowing people out and stuff. I think it is going to be a low-scoring game, but I think if the Niners win, they're going to win by 10.
I think it might be fairly easy, the Niner win.
Yeah, I'm not getting
But
that
we'll
confident,
see. We shall see.
but they are my boys.
They are. That's one of your teams.
No,
Better
I
win
want
it
to see
this year.
I want to see Shanahan get off the snide with all these people saying he can't win the big game and
Yeah.
he chokes.
Well, before KC beat them 4 years ago, they were saying the same thing about Andy Reid. So
True.
that can change.
Right. Yeah, Andy Reid in Philadelphia. That was the whole narrative.
Yep.
What else you got there, Dorster?
Okay, should we move on to the MVP?
Sure.
Who's going to win the MVP? Because that's you can bet on that. You can bet on anything.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Let me guess. Mahomes is favored.
Yes, but he's still plus money, plus 130.
Okay.
And if Kansas City wins, he's probably going to get it.
Yeah, no doubt, because they don't have any other big skill player other than if Kelsey scored 3 touchdowns, he might win.
He would probably win.
But I don't see that happening. But it could.
Anyways, 57 MVPs. 56 have been on the winning team, so
Figures.
But
Who was the one loser? Do you know?
Chuck Howley
Oh yeah, with the Dallas.
for the Cowboys back in Super Bowl V. He that was back when they picked it before the end of the game, and that game came down to a last-second field goal.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, he got it. Anyways, 32 of the 57 have been quarterbacks, and 13 of the last 20. 9 wide receivers, 9 defenders, 7 running backs. One thing about the 9 defenders,
Mm-hmm.
5 of them are either in the Hall of Fame or, in Von Miller's case, will be one day.
Sure.
And the others were 3 defensive backs and the linebacker from the Seahawks. Malcolm Smith, was it? Who won it that when they beat Denver?
Right. The Raiders had a defensive MVP in the Philadelphia Super Bowl, didn't they?
No, Plunkett won that year.
Oh, I didn't think they gave it to Plunkett.
Yeah. Who was it? Rod Martin, linebacker, had a big interception. I think he had 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
But Plunkett was such a good story. You know, his comeback from being a failed Heisman Trophy first-round draft pick.
Right.
And now Super Bowl champ.
Yep. I can't believe that guy's not in the Hall of Fame.
It's insane.
The guy wins the Heisman Trophy. He wins Rookie of the Year with the New England Patriots, the worst team in the league. He wins 2 Super Bowls, and he's the MVP of one.
Yeah. You win 2 Super Bowls, you should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry.
Well, they'll put Manning in there.
Eli?
You know it.
Who was pretty ordinary other than his Super Bowl runs.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good.
Right.
No, not knocking him. But, yeah.
Did you know Jim Plunkett, both of his parents are blind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of his story.
Yeah.
It was just everyone all of a sudden, wow, what a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Jim Plunkett.
Okay, but real quick, back to the MVP.
Yep.
So for the most part, if you want to go wide receiver, it's always been receiver 1 or 1A on the team. Either the leader in targets or the second guy who's close, real close. Except Desmond Howard, who was a return gadget guy.
Right.
Running back, none have won in 26 years, but I think McCaffrey has a shot.
Hey, if the Niners control the clock and McCaffrey scores 3 touchdowns, he's the MVP.
I think so. And he's plus
Maybe even 2.
475.
Maybe even 2 touchdowns.
I think that's worth a bet.
Yeah, I saw he was, what was that, plus what?
475.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet.
A tight end has never won, but I think both Kittle and Kelsey are real good bets.
Well, and if KC wins, Kelsey has a big game because of the Taylor Swift factor. They'll give it to him.
Well, now 2 weeks ago with Kelsey in the championship round,
Mm-hmm.
I had recommended go under. That was stupid. When I went to bet it, I looked at it and said, I can't do this.
Right.
And then, of course, he goes off. You know, I'm thinking the Ravens got great linebackers. They got Kyle Hamilton. If any team can shut him down, they're going to do it. And he went off.
Baltimore's game plan, both on defense and offense, was terrible.
Terrible. But Kelsey, I think, is going to get over, and I think
What are the odds on him?
he's at plus 1,200, and Kittle is at plus 6,000. I'm gonna drop on each of them, $5 maybe.
Kittle 60 to 1?
60 to 1.
Shit, I'll throw 5 on that.
Yeah. Like I said, the D, 5 of 9 have been future Hall of Famers, and those have been front 7 guys. So if you're betting Warner, 120 to 1,
Okay.
Chris Jones, 100 to 1, and Nick Bosa, 75 to 1.
Both
I
at
think
75.
I think they're all worth a shot.
Yeah.
Bosa at 75.
Hey, throw $2 for 150.
Mm-hmm. Seriously?
Yeah.
And then one guy, two guys I actually kind of like, one DB on each team. You know, if they get a pick 6 or a couple interceptions.
Right.
L'Jarius Sneed for the Chiefs at 150 to 1.
He's been playing lights out.
And Shavarius Ward for the Niners. Believe he leads them in interceptions
He's
this
awesome.
year. 200 to 1.
Wow.
Drop $2 for 400. I mean, it's unlikely, but
Hey, but you could take $20 and blanket 10 guys at super long odds, and you
Yeah,
might get lucky.
you might get lucky, exactly, and that's kind of what we're all about.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so that's my MVP talk. I would Mahomes is more than even money, and that's probably a good bet. I'm not going to do it, but I think the Niners are going to win. Purdy, I think, is 225 to 1. And if no one stands out, they just give it to the quarterback by default.
Right. So he's 2.5 to 1.
225, I think it
225.
was.
Okay.
But I like McCaffrey, I like Kelsey, and I like Kittle. I like those bets.
Yeah, I do too.
I also like, and this is a prop, anytime TD, and you can toss in with anytime TD props.
Sure.
Both D's are again at 6 to 1.
I saw that.
Historically, it's about a 2 to 1 bet. You bet both of them. That's a 3 to 1 odd. If you can get 3 to 1 odds on a bet that's 2 to 1 historically, you take it. Just throw down on both teams.
Sure. And if you wanted to get real bold, you could parlay them.
Yeah, parlay. Yeah, that's true.
And boost it.
Get an odds boost. You got it.
Yep.
And I like Mahomes at plus 400 anytime TD. That's the one that really stood out to me.
Well, my girl, Anita Marks,
Yeah.
on ESPN Bet,
Uh-huh.
she gave me one. If you like Mahomes touchdown,
What's that?
Mahomes to score the first touchdown, 28 to 1.
Score the first?
Yes. And let's look at this, Dork. We talked about it.
Yeah.
No penalties for Casey in the first quarter. You can damn near bet on it.
Okay.
If they had a bet on it, I'd be all over
Yeah.
that. Which means there's a good chance that if they get the ball first, they're just going to march down the field and score a touchdown, and Mahomes runs it in. You hit it at 28 to 1.
That's not bad. You're looking, if you like the long shots like we do.
I'll tell you, if I'm the 49ers and they win the toss, I'm taking the ball. If they defer, I'm going to say fuck you. That's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
You defer to Kansas City, they'll march down the fucking field on you. You're down 7-0. Your game plan's changing already.
Mm-hmm.
Take the goddamn ball and you walk it down the field on those punks.
Okay.
Gutter snipes.
Okay, now I got more props here. Did you have any other anytime TD people?
What do I have here? I don't have any anytime touchdowns yet, but I was looking at that, and I'm thinking of taking at least one, if not both, the D's.
Okay, I think that's the good move. Okay, now yardage. That's the last thing I looked at. Over under.
Okay.
So Mahomes is at 259.5. Purdy is at 247.5.
Right.
Purdy has gone over that 12 of his 18 games this year.
It's a nice
so I
edge.
think he's a decent play.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Especially since there is the expectation that he's going to be playing from behind.
Well, and KC's secondary is pretty damn good.
They are. Yes, I mean, it's, you're, there's a lot to think about here, but I do like him over.
Yeah, I like that.
Mahomes, I'm just going to kind of leave alone because everything suggests don't play him over under. Put it this way, I'm not going to play him under, and I am going to play him over on rushing yards, but I'll get to that next.
Okay.
Okay, so on the rushing yards, McCaffrey at 90.5. He's covered that 10 of 19 and 6 of the last 8. And I think they're going to saddle him up and ride him.
Is he still
like
at 90?
90.5.
I'm going to get on that.
I like the over a lot there.
I'm surprised that hasn't gone up.
Debo, over 16 and a half rushing.
Right.
At 16 and a half. He's only covered that 3 of 19 games this year. So I kind of like the under on that.
Okay.
Elijah Mitchell, I think I read this right, 3.5 yards rushing.
That figures.
I'm going to go over on that. I think he's going to get some burn. I just think that he could get that in one play quite easily.
He might not get one carry.
He might not get a carry. That's the thing, but I like it.
Okay.
Mahomes, 26.5 rushing yards. He's been over that in all three Super Bowls he's been in.
Yeah,
I
and
want to say 29, 36, and 44.
I can't believe the way that guy just rips off 15, 16
Yeah.
yarders at a pop.
And I looked at, again, the last 10 years. Running quarterbacks typically are well over 30 yards, and that's Russell Wilson, Cam, Mahomes. Everyone else is under 10. If you're
Uh-huh.
not a running quarterback, the one over was Brady, and he got that on one carry, 15 yards.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
typically, if you want to bet Purdy under the 12.5, even though he ran like crazy against the Lions,
right.
um,
What's the juice on that?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know the juice, but I like the under.
okay.
12.5.
Because the juice is kind of important, Dork.
Yeah, it is.
Because I bet Purdy, but I juiced it up to over 18.5 and got plus 185.
I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, he's been well over it the past two games.
That's why I bet
So
it.
it's like running is a new thing with him.
Well, I heard some dudes talking, talking heads on ESPN or whatever, and one of the guys said, I watched a lot of what was it, Iowa State he played at or whatever.
Yeah.
Said I watched a lot of Iowa State football because they're one of my teams.
Yeah.
And he goes, Purdy doesn't think twice about taking off if he has to.
Okay.
And we've seen that in the playoffs. He's doing it more. It adds another dimension.
And he's still kind of new at this NFL quarterbacking.
Yeah, he is.
And there's a comfort level that sometimes he has to be at, and he's figuring out, hey, I can run, and it's better than throwing into traffic.
Yeah, I think Shanahan probably told him as the season was winding down and stuff, like, hey man, we're gonna have to pull a couple tricks out of the bag if we're gonna get to the Super Bowl, which means there's gonna be times you're just gonna have to fucking take off and do it. You know? At least I'm thinking that's what he probably said. But I got Purdy over 18.5 at plus 185.
So you adjusted it up. That's probably a good move because he has been.
I could have took that whatever you had 12.5, but I think the number was like plus 105 or 110 or something.
Okay.
So by just tacking on 6 yards, I boosted it.
Okay. Now receiving yards. I got. Again, I don't think I'm going to bet against McCaffrey on the 34.5, but he's only covered that 5 of 18 times during the year, so I'm not going to bet on it. And
he needs a long breakaway.
He needs the breakaway, right? The guy I like on the Niners is Kittle, over 49.5.
Okay.
He's covered that 11 of 18 times, and I just think they're going to use him a lot.
I hope so. And he's got revenge on his mind.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember or not, but when they lost 4 years ago, Kittle was like totally despondent, and he says, the next time I get back here, it's gonna be different.
Good.
He's coming in with frickin' attitude.
I hope it's been festering for all 4 years.
It has.
He's gonna be ready to fucking explode.
I do too. I hope he's just killing people out there.
So Rashee Rice, 66.5 yards. He was under that in 6 of the 20 games, so I'm playing him on the under.
Okay.
And Kelsey, 70.5. He was more often under than over that during the year. But all 3 playoff games, he's been over that, and I think he's going to go over again. So I kind of like that. So those are my side bets, my prop bets.
Okay, and I'll just mention one thing, and it hasn't really been talked about, but I think this 2 weeks off is going to help McCaffrey more than anyone because I think he was hurt more than they were saying.
Oh, yeah.
I know the dude. I can see what the way he runs and stuff. If he's 100%, it's going to be a whole different ball game. And so I'm hoping he is. But the last probably 5-6 weeks of the season since he had that calf injury, he hasn't quite been the same. Mm-hmm. He's still getting you 2 touchdowns out there, but if he's 100%, I see him ripping off 150 yards in this damn game.
Yeah. And another thing here, just on the prop bets in general, a very small percentage of money is on the prop bets, and so they don't pay as much attention, and that's where the bargains are.
Well, and the sharps are the ones that and the pros are the ones who play the prop bets more than anyone.
Yeah.
The general public doesn't play the prop bets as much. Which reminds me, I got another thing for you here, Dorkster.
Oh boy.
Okay, here. Bill Venovich, who's the head official for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's 97-66-1 on the under.
Oh, okay.
Games he officiates.
Okay.
65% of the bets are on the over right now. So if you think it's going to be under because the officiating is going to, tap down on the score or whatever, go there. And here's some great advice from my buddy Teddy Covers.
Teddy Covers.
Yeah, him and I are pretty tight.
I like him. You sent me a clip of him. I listened to it.
He's a pro.
He's a smart. He's not just a pro. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's not some gas bag who,
And you can tell he's been in a pro gambler his entire life. He's seen it all.
Yeah.
And so he just gives it the way it is. But anyway, and I heard a couple other guys mention the same thing, and this is what they said. They said that on a game like the Super Bowl, the public usually doesn't come in until the day of the Super Bowl as far as heavy. And he said, Teddy said, about 2 hours before kickoff, he says, here's what you do right now. And this was Monday. He said, get on your DraftKings, look at prop bets, overs, unders, sides, everything that you're thinking of betting, write it down right now. 2 hours before the Super Bowl kicks off, take your little list, match it with the current lines, and any of them that have moved positively, bet the opposite side.
I heard that from someone else. I forget who, but they said people love betting the overs.
Oh, totally.
And
the public, they just want some action at their Super Bowl party.
Right.
And but they're not the sharpest bettors in the world.
And they're going to drive up the number,
the over,
so
the
you're
line.
You're going to get a bet that's probably better than 50%.
And they call that the best of the number.
The best of the number. Thank you.
Yep.
And so we'll see. It's don't gamble crazy, just have fun with it.
Okay, I got a couple more props there, Dork, that I've already bet.
Let's hear it.
I've already bet them, Dork. Here's one I really like. I got this one from who was it? I don't know, one of the guys on one of those betting shows. Field goals made over 3.5 plus 110.
Okay.
I threw down fairly heavy on that for me. I had a bonus bet, so I threw a $5 bonus bet three-way parlay.
Mm-hmm.
I got the 49ers -2. I got the over 47.5, and I got CMC over 90.5 at plus 375.
Okay.
And then I told you I had that Purdy bet. Here's another bet that here's another bet I made. It's one of those promos on DraftKings.
Yeah.
I bet Pacheco and Ayuk both having 50-plus scrimmage yards at plus 110.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think what did I have Ayuk at for?
You can only bet $10 max on that
right,
bet.
But
get on that when you get home there, Dork.
His over-under is 60.5.
Right.
And he's been over that half of the games.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And this is total rushing and receiving.
Rushing and receiving, although Ayuk won't be rushing much.
Probably not unless something happens to Debo, which we don't want.
We don't want. We want both teams healthy and the Niners to win a fair game.
What else you got there, Dorser? Are you done?
That's about it.
I got some golf.
Let's hear the golf.
First, I got to give you my tale of sorrow.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They were playing.
I need a beer to cry in for this.
They were playing at Pebble Beach this last weekend,
mm-hmm.
and they got hit with the atmospheric river.
Yeah.
So going into what Sunday, which would have been the final round, which they ended up canceling, uh, I had 3 long shots in the top 10 of the leaderboard at that point. If they play that next day round, I've got a good shot at, and I just threw a few bucks, a $300 day if one of those cats hits.
Mm-hmm.
So on Saturday, the announcers and everybody are saying, well, it's pretty obvious we're not going to play today, but the way the weather looks and everything, there's a good chance that they'll be able to get it in on Monday. They called it real early on Sunday. And so my 3 guys who were top 10 on the leaderboard, they're out of the money. Wyndham Clark won, and I'm happy for him. He won a big one for me last year. But here's the deal. As soon as it looked like the final round might be canceled, the pro bettors, the real sharp ones, while the lines were still active, they started jumping on dudes that were already in the top 5 or in the top 10 and betting them.
Oh, really?
In case it cancels, they're in.
Okay.
And one of the pros was talking about that, and he says, it's not in the spirit of the game, but when you're a bettor, you do what you got to do. And so I learned a valuable lesson there. If I ever end up in another situation like that, and it's unlikely, it was a severe weather storm.
Right.
But if I ever end up in a situation where the lines are still live and it looks like they might postpone the final round of the tournament, I'm jumping in on those.
Do it. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Didn't that used to be called the Bing Crosby Invitational?
It did. They called it the clam bake.
The clam bake, okay.
Because Bing would always have a big clam bake and booze the day before the tournament kicked off with his buddies.
Right on.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought that we'd have referenced Bing Crosby twice in this year?
Yeah. It was mainly Kalikimaka. And then, of course, Bob Hope had the Desert Classic in Palm Springs.
Yeah, they were like the two of the kickoff tours, right?
Yep.
Meets, yeah.
Yeah, and they still are.
Well, I'm sorry, dude, but you want to know what I learned about gambling that I took advantage of this week?
What?
Hedge.
You hedged your Niners?
I hedged my Niners bet. You
had the Niners at 8-1.
Back in February at 8-1.
Okay.
I put $20 down on them.
There you go.
And normally I would just kind of let it ride.
Yep.
But in the World Series, I had a big win if had the Diamondbacks won. And what I should have done is hedged it with a bet on the Rangers, and I didn't.
Right.
Well, this time I threw $75 down on the Chiefs at plus 105.
There you go.
And either way, I'm going to win about $160.
Well,
so
8-1, you had them at 8-1 for 20, so that's 160. And
yeah. Well, they took the 20, so I'll get 180 back.
Yeah, and if you lose that, you lose your 75.
Right. I spent the 75. I've spent 95 already.
Sure.
But I'm gonna pick up. I'm gonna pick up enough to cover that one way or the other.
Well, that's what I did on my MVP hedge.
You did it with Lamar, yeah.
Sometimes you got to do that.
And I just said, you know what, I'm gonna make some money here, and
yeah.
I hope San Francisco wins.
Well, like gamblers say, there's nothing wrong with taking a profit.
No, and that's what I did.
Okay, so this week we've got the Phoenix Open, and the Phoenix Open is always Super Bowl Sunday weekend. That the tournament goes. And in fact, when I was in the Air Force back in 1987, I was stationed in Phoenix. And my dad came over from California to visit me and watch the Super Bowl and stuff. And we went to the Phoenix Open on Saturday and watched the Super Bowl on Sunday. And anyway, it's the Phoenix Open. I'm going to give you some long shots here. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I like Ricky Fowler at 55-1, and these are outright winners. I like Lucas Glover at 130-1, and then I like Siwoo Kim at 48-1. And there you go.
So, a question: can you bet them to finish top 5, top 10?
Yeah, you can. You can even bet them top 20.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of people, these professional gamblers, do, is they'll bet them across the board. They'll bet them to finish first, fifth, 10th place, three places, each way,
Okay.
and that's the way they normally bet it. But I'm a recreational golf bettor, and so
Yeah.
I just throw a few bucks on some long shots. I hit three at 30 to 1 different tournaments last year. That's what I'm hoping to do this year. As after the Super Bowl, I'm gonna start concentrating on golf and horse racing.
Okay.
In fact, I was down at Lava Lanes betting the horses last weekend.
How'd you do?
Not well,
We have good days. We have bad days.
but I didn't bet much.
Did you want to?
I just bet half the money I'm going to win in the fantasy playoffs this
There
weekend.
you go. Unless Ray McLeod gets a couple returns.
Oh, and that's another thing I was going to mention to you. Since you got your boy Ray,
Yeah.
if you're going to play a defensive touchdown, throw down on Ray. He was I forget what he was, but he was something like
Probably
twen-
a lot.
he was like 25 to 1 or something.
Okay.
So if you're going to do 40 and hope for the return,
Yeah.
you double up.
Double up. Never a bad idea.
In fact, I'm going to write that down. I'm doing Ray in the D.
So, are you gonna throw any voodoo curses out there?
I am, Dork. I'm glad you reminded me. Not that I needed it. But yes, I am. I'm going to have to change hats here. Go Niners. I'm going to have to get my voodoo hat on here, Dorkster. Okay, here we go. Who do you think is going to be on this time, Dork?
God, you got little gold skulls all around that.
You know it, baby. I'm a first-class voodoo mofo.
I am frightened beyond the ability for rational thought here.
As well you should be, Dork. You should feel lucky that I'm not putting a curse on your ass. Okay,
I
so.
think you did. I had my best fantasy week ever.
Okay, where's that white pen on this bad boy? Oh, there it is. Okay, so we're going to take the white pen out, which is for good luck, and we're going to move over, Trevor.
Let's put Trevor by the white pin, all winner.
I think Trevor, if he doesn't start playing better, is going in the shit can. Okay. There we go, right in the heart.
That's the black pin.
The black pen, that's the curse pen, right? We got to get a Rulu. And we got to do our little...
Apologies to Johnny Quest.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Golden
Golden Boy. Travis Swift. You're all going, Andy Reid, throw your hamburger eating ass in. You're all going down. It's going to be a 49er win, Super Bowl, big time. And I hope they just don't beat them, Dork. I hope they humiliate the fools.
Excellent. And I'm going to quick ask the Magic 8 Ball who's going to win the Super Bowl.
That's,
Oh, it says 49ers, 35-13. I didn't even know that was an option on these things.
Hey, man, $3.99 Tumu. You don't know what you're going to
You
get.
don't know what's going to come up. That's right.
That's for damn sure. I got that off Tumu for $2.99.
Okay, we've officially gone off the rails.
We have.
Everyone enjoy the Super Bowl.
Yep, very much so. Catch us next Wednesday for our Super Bowl wrap-up. And what will be, and then from that point on, we're going to be just doing maybe once a week through the off season. We'll be discussing the draft, of course.
We may take a little break until free agency.
We might.
We may take 2 weeks off here and there, but
Yeah.
we'll be there. We'll be here for you.
Yeah, it might not be every week, but it will definitely be here next week. And then,
Yes.
Then between now and the draft, we're going to be, like I say, talking draft for sure. We'll be talking futures bets on Super Bowl. They're already up, but you might want to wait till after the game and start thinking about throwing down on next year's Super Bowl. Hopefully, I'm going to be celebrating my Lamar MVP tomorrow night when they announce it about 9 o'clock our time, Dork.
And well-deserved, Lamar.
I think so.
So since it is a regular season award, I'm glad he got it, and I hope the Ravens come back strong and ready to roll next year. That's a fun team.
And I'm glad that they do that as a regular season award, or else you'd have Mahomes getting the MVP for the season and the goddamn Super Bowl. So this way, you separate it. You could, Lamar could have won both if he would have got there, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder how many times that's happened, Dork. That a guy won the regular season MVP and Super Bowl MVP. Did Rodgers do it, I wonder?
Rodgers
Well,
only won one
I bet
Super
Brady
Bowl.
did.
I bet Brady did. Mahomes did last year.
Yeah.
So it's happened before.
Yeah, it has. Okay, thanks for watching Fantasy Football with the Dork and the Dude. And good luck. Go Niners. Well, I better go to Niners hat. Get down, Niners! McCaffrey go for 150 and 2 touchdowns. Let's make it 3. 2 on the ground, 1 in the air.
Yeah, baby.